This is EJ and it's good to have you back. So remember the usuals: comment, like, share, and subscribe. So today we're going to talk about relationship. What is a relationship? Relationship is when two people come together as one. And when we often go into relationship, we usually, we usually have expectations of what we think relationship should look like or what it should be like. Whether that is how it turns out is another story. But we always have an expectation. That's just human nature. And so when we meet somebody, in most cases, people expect their partner to bring happiness into their life, to fulfill them, to make them whole, to make them complete, to feel that missing piece in their heart, or feel that hole in their life somewhere. To be frank with you, nobody's going to do that for you. Sorry to bust your bubbles. Yeah, I've been a psychologist long enough. I've been studying psychology for over 15 years. And I kid you not, nobody else can fulfill you. That is something you have to do for yourself. When you go into a relationship, you're going into partnership in a sense. You're going into togetherness. Let's work together. Let's be together. Let's bring our strengths and our weaknesses together, and let's work with one another in that. That is what we're doing in relationship. But rather what we do is like we go in there with all these expectations. And there's nothing wrong with having expectations. You should have expectations from your partner or people important in your life, because that's part of life. I go to work. When I go to work, I know my boss, has an expectation of me. So because they expect me to do some things or be a particular way. And likewise in relationship, you do have an expectation. Though we may not call it that, but it's what I would call psychological contract in a sense. It's like, it's unspoken, but we know that this is how things should be. So anyway, with that said, is about becoming mindful on how we interact with our partner. So for example, being a woman now, a man speaks less. Is scientifically proven. Women speak over, I think it's 3,000 words in a day, while a man speaks 250. It's a huge number. So the poor man he hasn't even got a clue on where to start a conversation. So usually for men, they are exhausted. They don't want to talk. And for a woman, she loves talking. It's like, don't you love conversations, like Marilyn Monroe would say? Don't you adore it? Of course not. Because as a woman, we do. Biologically, if we go back to the cave times, the evolution of the cavemen time, okay? Looking at men were hunters. Men are hunters still. Though we conditioned them and tamed them down. Not by choice, by the way, I don't think. I think it's literally forced upon them. But that's another debate for another day. Nonetheless, let me just go back to my point. So anyway, men by nature are hunters, okay? And imagine, let's just paint the picture here. Imagine in those days when a man will go out hunting, okay? So what do? They want to catch their prey. And so they spot their prey and they go there. So what are they doing? Are they going, oh yes, I'm going to catch a prey? No. No, they go, shh, it's quiet, because they need to be quiet and silent. So they see the prey, they creep in silence, and get to where the prey is and shoot the arrow, whatever, and catch their prey. Okay? But because if they made noise, the prey or the animal will run away, because they will hear a noise and they know to run, because that means I'm going to be somebody's dinner. So they need to run. So the man will go in silence. Do you see? Whilst now the woman, when the man has gone out hunting, the women are at home. Well, what do? Well, the women need to make noise. Why? Because if they make noise, it lets whoever, if someone was going, or a stranger or anyone was going to come to attack them, they would think there's somebody at home. They would think maybe a man is at home, or that's lots of people, so they wouldn't come. So what do women do? Women are chatting and talking and making noise to keep away the prey. Did you see? So we as women, we know to make noise. We know to, like, you know, to talk, to communicate. Yeah, because that's part of our biological being. And men are more silent trained. It doesn't mean it's like that for every man. Believe you me, I've met men who can talk for England, okay? But what I'm talking about is what happens with the majority, or a large number of us at times. And it's just becoming mindful of that. So maybe, for example, when you're in a relationship and you notice that your man might not talk as much, it's not such a bad thing. It might be that there might be an introvert, and why you may be an extrovert. And the difference between introvert and extrovert, and we can talk a bit more about that in depth another time, but is knowing that, you know, he might not be so outgoing and so puts himself out there as much as you may do as a woman, or vice versa, because it can be reversed, and you can have a woman who's really quiet and her husband or partner is really loud, and he's an extrovert and she's an introvert. And it's like, you know, an introvert person is someone who's very out there, very bubbly, they socialize, they enjoy debates, they like being out there. Well, an introvert prefer maybe being in their own company, maybe just reading, just you know, some classical music. And it doesn't mean that you can't like all of those things. We're talking about what is the most comfortable zone to be in. Okay, so with that is about looking at how do we, you know, relate. How can I relate? How can I love you more? What can I do to, you know, enhance our connection with each other? Because relationship is about connection. We as women, we know that we love to feel like we are the center of the universe. But so do men, to be honest. Every human being wants to feel like they are the center of the universe. Believe you me, okay? We might not be able to say it or articulate it in that way, but that's really where we're coming from. We come from that I am the center of the universe. The world is all about me, and you need to make me happy. Well, I'm sorry, life don't work that way, okay? But what it is about looking at how can I get on, okay? And we've got to remember this, especially in relationships, because when you're in a relationship, it is two-way. It's called relationship. It's relating with one another in partnership. Do you see? And and to relate means to bring yourself into something and be part of that. Participate in it. Be of service to another person. In a way, that is what it's about. But we go into a relationship and we make it all about me and us. It's about me. What is in it for me? What are you doing for me? How are you making me happy? Are you taking me out to dinner? You know, why did you choose that place? Why? But it's not like that. Because as you're thinking that, the other person is equally thinking the same thing. People are looking for someone to love them, to be with them, to know who they are and love them unconditionally. It's not about stuff. Stuff is nice, but it's about being able to say, hi, babe. How are you today? How was your day? And really listen. Be present. Really listen to how that person's day was. And really try to imagine what their day was like. And it's not about, oh, they need to listen to you as well. No, not all the time. Just be with them. Find out how their day really was. And then try to be sympathetic and have compassion. And say, okay, how can I love you? You might need to give them a hug. You might need to maybe say, okay, let me run a nice bath. Or you might think, okay, let's go for a walk. Whatever it is you need to do, because you would know your partner. And if you don't know your partner, start getting to know your partner. Start getting to know what's important to them. Start getting to know what is their value. What is their value? What is important to them? And by knowing that, you get to know the person. Ask them questions, not like millions and millions of questions all at the same time. No, but maybe one or two, because men don't talk as much. So you ask one or two questions, you know, just knowing the person you're with, and be open to them and share yourself, and not to be distrusting.